Hello, I'm Denzel Washington and welcome to another episode of Was It Actually Good? A series where I take a look at a wide variety of games that all have a reputation. Some good, some bad. And I try and see if they deserve their place in history. This week I'm examining The Unwanted Stepchild, one of the most lauded game series in modern history. Today I look at Batman Arkham Origins. Also, spoilers, because of course. So, let's start with the facts. Arkham Origins sold respectably, and it just missed out on being in the top 10 selling games of 2013. And when you consider some of its competition in that year, not really something to be sniffed at. Origins also received mostly decent reviews from critics, averaging somewhere between 6.5 and 7.5 overall. Some do slightly better, but it did happen to receive a 3.5 from Destructoid, so yeah, not all good. Origins was the first game in the Arkham series that was not created by Rocksteady Games, who made Asylum and City, but instead it was made by WB's Montreal studio. This, combined with the amazing double act of Kevin Conroy as Batman and Mark Hamill as the Joker, deciding not to reprise those roles and for them to be played by Roger Craig Smith and Troy Baker respectively. There was already quite a few things going against the game before it was even released. The game is a bit of a strange one, because it is a prequel made after the original, and it needs to set stuff up while creating its own experience. It can only really show certain equipment and skills because Batman hasn't created or learned them yet. It also needs to make sure that it doesn't step too hard on the toes of the previous games that are so beloved. It did most of this well, but it failed quite a bit at that last one. In fact, there is a very sour taste to the title for most people. In fact, most people that I've spoken to about the game think that it's quite a bit of a massive letdown, and it's rightly shunned by the original studio Rocksteady, who do not include it in the series of games. So, looking at the game, there's some getting used to the change of voice actors in this game. Roger Craig Smith does a very good job of filling the massive boots that were left for him. His Batman gives the impression that while he's still a hero, he's still using the death of his parents as the driving force for all of his good deeds. He's still angry, he's still really hurt, and he's not quite grasped that there's a lot more to being a hero than just going out and punching bad guys in the face. So he's talking the talk, he's just not quite learned to walk the walk yet. Troy Baker, I think, had arguably the hardest job, even more so than WB Montreal with this game. He had to replace arguably the greatest performer to portray the clown prince of crime, Mark Hamill. And he, in my humble opinion, did a fantastic job. It was an homage. He didn't try to outright copy Mark, just use a similar style. But he also managed to add its own flavour to the character. The mechanics of the game are pretty good. Quite like the change to detective mode. It's not just a way to see bad guys that you're sneaking up on through the walls and things. They actually added a sense that you were more than just the Dark Knight, you were the world's greatest detective. And the fact that you can rewind and examine a crime scene to kind of put everything together to figure out exactly what happened, while not remotely plausible, it's still a nice touch. It's something that's kind of cool to add. It also had a nice change up to the combat system, mostly. I like the addition of the electric gloves. They give a cool sense of badassness and really fit nicely into the free flow combat system that Arkham is well known for. Having to charge up the gloves and them adding an extra layer of damage to enemies, it really quite added to the experience. That said, the way they changed the large and armoured enemies fights was a bit strange, and after 2 games of getting used to how you deal with those kind of an opponent, it felt really wrong. Especially since you don't actually get your electric gloves until like halfway through the game. If that, I think it might even be a little bit later than that. So the best way to deal with them is it's to really not if you can avoid it. So yeah, it just kind of felt a bit broken and disjointed. Kind of took me out of combat. Storyline wise, I think it is truly one of the most obvious twists that's ever happened, ever. It doesn't really hurt the plot, it only kind of strengthens it. The reveal of the Joker and his introduction to Batman is a great scene that really quite sums up their whole relationship. Also, the use of the GCPD, various assassins that are after Batman on this night, as well as the final boss and some of the other characters that you meet throughout the game. They're all very well utilised, especially since he doesn't know most of these people yet. He's just starting to find his feet. Hell, they only find out that the Batman's a real thing in this game. He's been doing it for 2 years. There's a sequence at the end of the game where the player has no agency in it, but Batman makes a choice that just kind of perfectly illustrates how much of a flawed hero he is. He's a good man, but he's far from perfect. Being the big bad in the game, he's set up to be a mercenary, very intelligent, as well as being incredibly strong. He's not just the big brute that everybody knows. He figures out your secrets, but he finds out that Bruce Wayne is Batman. But you can force him to start to use the venom more and more, to the point where he's really abusing it, and he grows to like 5 times his normal size. He's already quite a big guy in the game, but you force him to abuse the venom, and it basically fries his brain, and he loses most of his short-term memory. So basically the only way for Batman to keep his secret is to turn Bane into the monster we all know Bane to be. And to be honest, it's just one of these fantastic plot points that I think the game has quite a lot of. And I don't think it gets quite enough recognition for the story. In all honesty, I think storyline wise, it might be the strongest in the entire Arkham series. And that's saying something, because I love the story in all 3 of them, regardless of how predictable they are. They're fantastic. And to be honest, that combined with the positive additions to the series as well, most notably in my opinion, Troy Baker's Joker, it makes me think that the opinion of Arkham Origins is rather quite hard. Yes, there's some bugs in it, especially in PC, and it doesn't do everything right, but I do think people are a little bit too hard on it. I think they give it a little bit more chance. But this, of course, is just my opinion. Comment below with your thoughts and opinions. I'd love to see what all of you think, both about my opinion and about the game itself. Let's start a bit of a dialogue. I've been Denzel Washington, and this has been actually good. See you next time.